Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by contribution from Becky, and this is her story. Hello Ollie, I'm the lady who shared my story about my Iranian narcissistic mother and the cousin who raped me. You can call me Becky. This is the second part of the story where I explain why I've stuck it out with my abusers. It is because of the fear I haven't successfully become independent from them. It all began when I was a toddler who was very active and rambunctious. But my mother treated me worse over the years. I know I mentioned before that starting in the first grade, she would help me complete math homework with me, and when I would lose attention, get tired and frustrated from getting the answer wrong, she would beat me with her hand, a ruler, pinch me, or pull my hair. Over the years, repeatedly, she called me stupid, especially when I would explore and push my boundaries to try to learn more about the world. I learned how to cook when I was 8 years old. And then by age 10, I was vacuuming and working in my mother's catering business, and not only babysitting my sister for free, but doing chores around the house, like washing dishes, which I hated. I felt so guilty being a poor student that I felt I should do chores and take care of my sister to prove I was worthy of my mother's love. When I did chores, that is when my mother appreciated me. She controlled my life severely, and when I tried to make friends, she sabotaged my friendships by saying something negative about my friends or telling me I'm wasting time and that I should go study, but she never treated my sister this way. On the contrary, my mother drove my sister to her friends' houses, even let her go to the street to play with children in the neighborhood while I was obligated to watch her. Anyways, the point is she discouraged me from having a social life and made me feel stupid. There were times I had friends, but my mother would always talk about how smart our neighbor's daughter was because she was in the gifted and talented program. In the fourth grade, my teachers told my mother that it was beneficial for me to repeat fourth grade, which my mother agreed since I was struggling and behind because years prior I was sent to a learning disabled program, which sent me further and further behind, where the learning disabled teachers emotionally and psychologically abused to the point of seeing classmates in tears. So my mom fought to get me out of the LD program and back to a normal classroom, which did happen. In the fourth grade, she hired a tutor who helped me immensely and was very compassionate and empowering to me. My tutor helped me immensely in a non-abusive, compassionate way, and I got through the fourth grade, and then repeated fourth grade since the LD program before fourth grade set me back. The point is, all my teachers said that I was extremely hardworking. I worked hard in every aspect of my life and felt old. I felt like an adult trapped in a 10-year-old's body. I was expected to take on many house chores, help my mother with her business, and take care of my sister. But my mother always made me feel academically inferior when she talked about the children of her friends who were getting straight A's, skipping grades, and excelled in GT program. I felt so I felt so empty because I did not feel loved. At parties, I washed dishes because I felt like the act of doing chores would make me more valuable to my mother. All the hard effort that I exerted for her to love me. But it was always truly a one-way street, me loving her and not the other way around. Another milestone I hit when I was in seventh grade. I had A's and B's in all classes except math, which I slacked off. After high school, I ended up going to community college. I always felt defective. I always knew I was smart, but couldn't cut it academically. And the low self-esteem brought on by abuse really affected my success in life. My mother would always talk about her friends' children who made a good living, got into colleges, and got good jobs. This all made me feel so inferior. At the time, I was working in a pharmacy learning skills like how insurance works, filling prescriptions, answering busy phones, and dealing with upset customers. I felt like work made me feel competent, and it was the one thing that I could do, but I wasn't reaching my potential. My ex-boyfriend explained to me that I was smart and I can learn and excel at anything I put my mind to, but it took so much effort for me to truly believe that. The feelings of worthlessness and fear is what kept me stuck with my abusive parents. I felt guilty of leaving them even though I vowed after every beating that I promised woefully to leave and never come back. Well, I'm still here. So the story continues. By the time I turned 30, I had some college under my belt, certification in CPR, taking x-rays at a dental office, and private unarmed security certification. And I could speak some French and read and write Farsi. I had numerous skills, but still felt brain damage because that is how my mother and father treated me for years, with verbal and physical abuse. So my career and school struggles stemmed from the fact that my parents, especially my mother, planned that I would fail. Life when I was in the middle of the dental assisting program, my mom told me I would fail. And once my dad pulled a chef knife on me after he cut some fruit and told me to get out of the house, which I did. But I proved her wrong during the worst economic times in 2009. Not only did I manage to complete my dental assisting course, I got a job as a dental assistant and picked up skills fast. I had high standards for myself. When I worked at the dental office, I worked for a narcissistic office manager and sociopathic dentist and felt like I had a target on my back. One of the dental hygienists told me that I took better x-rays than her and that she had been taking x-rays for decades. I learned skills very quickly in a high-pressure, toxic work environment where there was high turnaround. Anyways, my sister comes in because I had dental coverage from my family since I worked there. I took x-rays from my sister and she told me I didn't come across as confident and that I needed to be more confident in myself. This was a slap in the face and hypocritical because during the time that she tried to get into dental school, she failed to learn any kind of dental skills. She would criticize me and tell me it was my fault that my boss and manager were treating me poorly, and no one wanted to hear about my job struggles. Fast forward a couple of years later, I'm laid off as a dental assistant. I decided to go back to school and was unemployed for several years. I felt overwhelmed from the abuse I received from my coworkers, bosses, boyfriend, and parents, and that there was nothing left of me anymore. I could barely think. A narcissistic friend suggested to me I transfer to a 4-year school, and I was so afraid of the worst, but I ended up being accepted to a top-tier university, and before I transferred, I had a 3.0 GPA. Even when I could get an A, I would get a B from self-sabotage. I would self-sabotage because I felt guilty for some reason about being successful. I had such a disordered, warped sense of reality and self. I ended up getting my associate degree, and even into my junior year, I still felt retarded because of how my mother brainwashed me and kept telling me how worthless and stupid I was for decades. But I was so determined to succeed that after nervous breakdowns and being immobile for days and suffering from severe pain, I managed to return back to the 4-year university after withdrawing a semester. I was extremely angry for being mistreated and had been made to feel inferior for so long, but I was still afraid of being without them, so I moved back while commuting to the 4-year university. But it wasn't until last semester when I got a 3.6 GPA and was on my way to a 4.0 on top of a demanding job did I realize I was never retarded, stupid, or worthless. This was such a relief to realize that I had so many milestones in my life, despite the decades of abuse. Now I only have a year left before I get my bachelor's. The sad thing is I have questioned the relationship with my sister. I told her how upset I was that I intend to go no contact with my parents. I know she told me that she had to tell herself lies in order to cope with existing in a narcissistic household. She told me in Farsi that her and my mother and father always thought I was slow, but actually I'm really smart. This wasn't a backhanded compliment, it was an insult that exposed her for who she is. But when I left her room, she was on the verge of tears and said, "We love you." I told her that I loved her and closed the door. I felt so guilty for making her sad. Well, if she really thought she was, if you were that slow, why did she show up at your dental job trying to sabotage you? It's bullshit. Don't believe those. Those are crocodile tears. Or those are tears that you finally, that she realizes that you realize you're actually smarter than she is. And that all her years of abuse didn't work. My dad was recently hospitalized, and I felt sad about that. And now he's home, but I notice he's distant towards me. There is no room in the driveway for me to park my car. I end up parking my car on the street. My life feels like a nightmare. I can move out, but my plan is to move out by September. I am in the process of getting my certified nursing assistant and get a job at a long-term care facility, and combined with financial aid would help me pay for all my bills. But this time I'm just being careful of moving out the smart way so I don't have to come back. I am in the grieving process. I believe my mother never wanted me. She just wanted me to get a job and be on my own. She never really wanted to facilitate my growth. I fought tooth and nail to reach small milestones. I feel extremely sad and hurt about my family situation. I feel betrayal since I was manipulated into developing a sense of worthlessness and a damaged sense of self. I was treated like someone who is mentally challenged when I'm not. I feel sadness for the family I never had. My sister pretends she doesn't understand how badly my mom treated me. But she has to tell herself lies in order for her to have a relationship with my parents. I wish I could leave sooner, but I'm trying to be smart about my move. Sometimes I don't know how much I can hold on. For the first time in my life, I feel free and feel like I don't need them. But there is a struggle. I know I will make it on my own, but I feel sad and guilty about going no contact, especially my sister. I know I plan on moving out this year, but I haven't made the decision to go no contact with my immediate family. I really appreciate your presence as a leader in the narc survivor community. Some days are so hard, I just feel like I'm dying inside. Becky. You realize all of this is fear-based. All of it. Let's not forget your mother allowed you to get raped, then used you as an indentured servant. Her, your father, your sister always treated you like you were retarded, wanted you to believe that. So you'd be an indentured servant. Don't think that they want you to move out. They don't. They want you right there doing all your chores, probably bringing money into the house, just like you were a child. It's not guilt. It's fear. It's fear of the loss of your family, of cutting them all out and having them and really not acknowledging them. But look how they treat you. You don't need them. Your sister doesn't know. Why did she show up at the dental office and try to sabotage you that day if she thought you were slow and retarded up until that point? It's all a show. None of it is real. None of it is real. You have nothing to feel guilty about, and I don't think it's even guilt you're feeling. You're feeling fear. And a lot now more is anger. For the time you've lost, for the things you accomplished. Listen, some people are just bad at school. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Because they try to teach everybody the same way, and not everybody learns the same way. And some people are just like, if you don't want to learn something, you don't give a shit about it, you're not going to pay attention. The stress on academia is so overblown. It's so overblown. And is not indicative of intelligence, not by a long shot. But you found out once you started taking classes that you wanted to take and doing things that you want to do, you could pass them just fine. You could pass them just fine. So what's the problem? You were never who the narcissist told you you were. Remember that. You were never who the narcissist told you you were. I hope you get out. I hope you get out quick, and I hope you cut them out as soon as possible. I understand you want to do it smart and then do that if you're in the position, but be ready to leave. Don't delay it out of any more fear-based guilt, because you were never who the narcissist told you you were. And please remember that. Thank you for your contribution and thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any comments or opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have some audio or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.